Sam, human nature is fascinating. Even when we're getting literal miracle bread from heaven, we still find ways to complain about our food options. This ancient story about leadership and burnout feels incredibly relevant today.
Pappy, that's such an interesting parallel to modern life. I mean, who hasn't gotten tired of eating the same thing day after day? But what catches my attention is how quickly they went from amazement to complaints.
Sam, here's what's particularly fascinating. It wasn't even the leading group that started the complaining. The text mentions this group called the riffraff, basically people who had tagged along during the Exodus, who began stirring up trouble.
WHOW. It's like that one person at work who starts complaining and suddenly the whole office culture shifts, right?
Sam, exactly. And let's talk about this manna for a moment. The description is incredibly detailed. It looked like coriander seed, had this specific appearance, and it could be prepared in multiple ways. It wasn't just some mysterious substance dropping from the sky.
Pappy, that's interesting. They could grind it, boil it, make it into cakes. It sounds like they had quite a few culinary options.
And get this, Sam, it tasted like a pastry made with the finest oil. They're getting free, delicious miracle bread every single day. And they're still looking back at their time as slaves in Egypt because they missed the vegetables.
Pappy, that's such a human response, though. We often romanticize the past, even when it was objectively worse, just because we're frustrated with our current situation.
Speaking of human responses, Moses' reaction to all this is one of the most raw, honest moments in religious literature. This great prophet just completely loses it. He tells God, if this is how it's going to be, just kill me now.
You know what's fascinating about that moment? The level of frustration in his words is almost palpable. He's using this incredibly sarcastic tone with God.
Right? And here's what's interesting, this isn't the first time Moses has expressed feelings of inadequacy. At the burning bush, he tried to get out of the whole leadership role. But this moment is different. This is complete burnout.
So, how does God respond to this pretty dramatic outburst?
That's where it gets exciting. Instead of rebuking Moses, God provides this efficient solution 70 elders to help share the burden. It's essentially the first organizational structure in recorded history.
Well, that's a fascinating way to look at it, like the first example of delegation and leadership. Um,
And there's this beautiful metaphysical aspect to it. God says he'll take some of the spirit that was on Moses and put it on these 70 elders. But it's not like Moses gets less of the spirit. It's more like lighting multiple candles from one flame.
that's such a perfect analogy. The original flame doesn't lose any of its brightness by sharing its light.
And here's what's profound, look at the contrast between how God handles the people's complaints versus Moses' complaints. With the people, he's angry because they're being ungrateful. But with Moses, he responds with grace because Moses is being honest about his limitations.
So it's not just about complaining versus not complaining, it's about the heart behind it.
Exactly. And it's about the difference between complaining about provision and being honest about human limitations. These are two very different things in God's eyes, apparently.
That makes me think about how we handle our struggles today. Are we more like the Israelites, complaining about what we have, or like Moses, being honest about what we can't handle?
And here's another layer to consider. This whole episode starts with food, but ends up being about so much more. It's about leadership, burnout, delegation, community, and the importance of sharing burdens.
That's powerful. It's like God is saying sometimes spiritual problems need practical solutions, and practical issues need spiritual solutions.
And you know what's fascinating? The text mentions that these 70 elders were already known as leaders among the people. God wasn't just picking random individuals, he was formalizing and empowering an existing structure. So the help was already there. It just needed to be correctly utilized. You hit the bullseye, Sam. Think about how this applies to our lives today. Sometimes we're so focused on looking for dramatic supernatural solutions that we miss the help God has already placed around us in our communities, our workplaces, our families.
Well, Pappy, that's certainly something to think about, especially in our current culture where burnout is such a common experience.
Sam, here's one final thought. Notice how this whole situation led to a better outcome for everyone. Moses got the help he needed, the 70 elders got to participate in leadership, and the community as a whole benefited from better organization. Sometimes what looks like a crisis is the catalyst for positive change.